BelGeode, and we are back once more in prepared version 4.5. And tonight, I want to take a flight in the Piper Cub. This is the A2A Accu-sim Piper Cub, the J-3. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to show this aircraft off tonight is, number one, you have not seen it on this channel in a long time. So the last time I think you saw this Piper Cub was when I was still using FSX Steam Edition. And I haven't really flown it a long time, but I decided to install it onto prepared version 4, and I discovered that the FSX version is really not optimized for prepared version 4, so I haven't used it, and that's pretty much why you haven't seen it at all. But the other reason why I want to show this aircraft to you is the good news that A2A has actually updated this thing for version 4.5 of prepared. So now it is definitely optimized for prepared, and that is the real reason why I want to show it off tonight. I want to show off just how well it works with the current version of prepared. Now you may be asking, where in the heck are we? Well, that's the other thing I want to show off tonight. Tonight we are in Papua New Guinea, and this is brought to us by Orbx, which is the other product that I purchased. I purchased the Tapini scenery for Papua New Guinea. And this particular scenery has several airstrips, and of course they've all got like sloping runways and so on and so forth. We're going to be taking a little bush flight from this location where we are at, which is called Ononge, and we are going to be traveling north into the mountains. As a matter of fact, let me show it to you on the map here. You can see the little map in the seat back in front of me. We hit our little shortcut key, and there we go. So we are there at Oscar November Brava. That's Ononge. We're going to be traveling almost due north up this little valley here to higher elevations. And our first stop is going to be Whiskey Tango Papa, which I believe is called Waitape, if I'm not too mistaken. The pronunciation is probably going to be butchered. So if you're actually from Papua New Guinea and watching this, please don't kill me. Thank you. And then our final location for the night is going to be Kilo Sierra Papa, which I believe is called Kiospe, if I'm not too mistaken. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not going to be a long flight. However, we are in a very slow aircraft, so that is going to make a difference. As a matter of fact, let me turn the rings on here, and that way you can actually see just how far we are going to go. All right, that's 2 nautical miles. We'll set it for 5 nautical miles there. Okay, so now you can see each ring represents 5 nautical miles from our current location. So that puts Waitape right around 7 or 8 nautical miles away from us, almost perfectly due north. And then Kiospe is roughly around 14 nautical miles from our current location. So as you can see, we really don't have too far to travel, which is good because this being a Piper Cub, we also don't have a lot of gas. You will see that I've got my little fuel tank dipstick there that tells us that we currently have a full tank, so roughly about 12 gallons of gas. This thing does sip gas, however, so we definitely should have way more than enough that we're going to need for this flight. Now, what may be a concern for us, let me just get rid of the map here, is the fact that we are currently at 6,000 feet above sea level. You see my altimeter, right? And let me just hit the little shortcut here to reset the barometer. Yep, we are still at 6,000 feet. So yeah, that's where this flight is going to get interesting, because the Piper Cub at this altitude means it's going to be straining to give us the kind of power that we would need. So that is going to be the fun part today. But to add to the fun, I've also decided to take our passenger. Now, if you know anything about the A2A Sims Piper Cub, you know that it comes with a virtual passenger. And actually, in this case, it actually has 2 different virtual passengers that you can pick from. I am talking about Heidi. Now, Heidi was created to kind of give you audio feedback as to how you're doing with the aircraft. So she could either be set to be fun, or she could be nervous, or maybe she could just, be the non-talkative type. We're going to go with the fun Heidi. But since it's me, I've got to do things differently. Heidi was originally a blonde. Anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love redheads. So naturally, I made a few modifications to Heidi, and since we have modified Heidi, I'm also going to be calling her a different name. So her name is going to be Tannia. Now you may ask, how do you put Heidi/Tannia into the cockpit? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are going to open up the little payload window here, and we'll take a quick look at it. Everything, by the way, in VR is set right where it needs to be, so it looks pretty convenient. And if you look, you will see currently our payload is 180 pounds. That is presumably my weight. I'm actually a little closer to 200, but we won't go there. And right now it says passenger 0. You can see some of the other things that we can add there, baggage, and of course it tells us how much fuel we've got, 12 gallons, which I already told you. And we can do other things like check and refill our oil and so on and so forth. So to get Tannia into the aircraft, all we need to do is hit this little gray silhouette.
Hi.
Hi, Tannia. All right, so Tannia is in, and that's all we really need to do on this window. So we'll go ahead and close it out there, and you can see that she weighs 135
Air is stale in
pounds.
here.
Oh, it is? Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. Tannia does not like stale air, so we're going to go ahead and open up the windows real quick, and we'll also open up the door.
That fresh air feels good, thank you.
All right. Well, my pleasure. I'm happy to help. And in case you want to get a closer look at Tannia, since obviously we're looking at the back of her head, we can always change our view. So there you can see the ever lovely Tannia, and she is ready to go. Pretty much we are also ready to go. So our next task is going to be to start the engine and see if we can take off from this bush strip. Now, this particular strip that I've chosen is challenging for one reason. Aside from the fact that it goes downhill, the runway is not exactly straight. There's a curve in it, and of course, with the ever lovely Tannia in front of me, this is going to be interesting to see if I can actually make it around that curve without us falling off the side of the hill. But none of that's going to happen until we get the engine started. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We will get our magnetos set to both. We'll turn our fuel on, crack the throttle a little bit, and we're going to prime it here. I'm thinking probably about 4 pumps should do it. Good Lord, that noise, I swear. Alright, a couple more times should do it. And actually, Tannia, I should have asked you to do this. But you're just here for the ride. So, there we go. Alright, now, the other cool thing about this aircraft is the fact that you have to hand crank the prop, just like in real life. So to do that, we actually have to stick our head out the window and hit the prop and then hold the mouse down and move it. We can do that one of two ways. We could either do that from inside the cockpit, or in the view that I just showed you outside, we can do that view to turn the prop. So we'll try it inside first and we'll see how well that works. Alright, clear prop. Okay, it's probably going to take a couple of rotations before it actually kicks in. There we go. Okay. Look at that. We are good to go. You can see our beautiful Tundra tires there. Extra fat because, of course, we're on a dirt strip. And let me set our trim really quick here. There we go. A little bit trim up. And we'll take a quick look outside just to make sure that everything's kosher before we decide to head out of here. Okay, everything is looking cool, and let me do a quick controls wipeout here. So we'll go left stick, right stick, and we'll get some up elevator, some down elevator, everything looks good. Can't see the rudder, but we're gonna hit the rudder pedals here. Okay, everything looks kosher. We'll close up the door as soon as we take off, but for right now, let me just check the engines and make sure everything's cool. Temperature's coming up nicely. Oil pressure is coming up nicely. I don't think we'll need the carb heat today. It is a pretty warm day. But yeah, we should be good to go. All right, Miss Tannia, you ready to rock and roll? I think Tannia is ready. Okay, you know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down, throttles up. And let's get the brakes off. We're going to go to the outside view, and here we go. Alright, and we made it. Woohoo! Okay, so now that we're airborne, let's go ahead and get our door closed. Very nice. And of course the sound changes volume once we do that. We're still on full throttle here. We're going to try and see if we can gain a little bit of altitude before we make this turn around here, because if you check the map, you will see that we're currently heading in the wrong direction. We are heading to the south. We need to be heading to the north. So we're going to gain a little bit more altitude here. We're still roughly around 6,000. And we'll turn around and keep heading up. Alright, let's close up the map. And let's begin our turn to the left. Okay, now we seem to be gaining a little bit of airspeed. See, part of the problem that we were having at that particular runway, we really didn't have any headwind. And that's the thing with a lot of these airports or airstrips here in Papua New Guinea, is the fact that there's really only one way in and one way out. So wind direction, it's going to work against you sometime. And as you can see, that is definitely an issue that we will have to contend with. But we are heading into the wind right now, so we're definitely gaining a bit more altitude. You will see we are currently at 6,500. See, there we go. Almost at 7,000 feet. But we're definitely gaining altitude, and we're definitely flying right now. Okay, so our first destination is almost directly ahead. Like I said, it's about 8 miles away. We can barely see it from here, but it is on more flat land, so we should be a little bit better off. But since we're passing this airport now, let's take a quick look at it from the outside as we pass by. Alright, so we have officially passed Onunge and we are heading to our first stop, Waitape. You can see it barely off in the distance there. Now we're actually considerably higher than we will need to be, so I'm actually going to pull the power back just a touch here. Bring it down to about 20 on the manifold pressure, which should be fine. And we can probably trim ourselves down a bit too. There we go. Now we should start gaining a little bit more airspeed. Alright, cool beans. So it looks like Tannia's being pretty quiet here right now, but we can always wake her up by doing a bit of aerobatics, and one of the things that I can do is dive for the deck.
Woohoo!
Oh, you like that, huh? While we're at it, we'll see if we can do a stall here really quick. Do a power on stall. There we go. Look at that. Alright. And we should be back up to about 6,500 feet, so we're good to go there. Of course, I don't think you can do much barrel rolling in this thing. We could probably turn it really sharp, but that's about it. You can see Tannia grab onto the handle there. And that is one of the things that I absolutely love about this aircraft, is the fact that Tannia is just so animated. It is so awesome. And even though we're stuck looking at the back of her head here, it's just too cool to imagine that there's actually a passenger in front, especially in VR. I think that's just the coolest thing ever. And I really wish more developers would do stuff like this. In my opinion, it's definitely worth investing in. Granted, they don't have to go through a lot of the same things that A2A has done to really flesh Tannia out, but it is definitely one of the high points of this aircraft. As a matter of fact, if we had any AI traffic flying around, which obviously we're in the middle of nowhere, so pretty sure we're not going to have any, but Tannia will actually call them out. Depending on, what direction they're from and how far away, she will let you know, hey, there's an aircraft at like our 10 o'clock or our 2 o'clock or something like that, which I think is super helpful in the cockpit. It's basically just like what a real co-pilot would do. Now, the other co-pilot that's available to you is called Kate, and I haven't quite figured out yet how to pop Kate up instead of popping up Heidi, aka Tannia, but I have seen the figure, so I know she's there. I just don't know how they actually laid that out. It's probably associated with one of the other models for this aircraft. And that is also a very important thing to note. You get multiple models with this aircraft. You don't just get the Tundra tire version. You also get one with regular tires. There's one with floats, and there is one with skis. All of them come included with this package, so you're getting a lot for the money, basically. Alright, so you can see our airport directly ahead. We're going to go to the outside view as we get a little bit closer to it, and my plan is going to be, we'll circle the airport, check which way the windsock is blowing before we try to come down. Thankfully, this particular airport should have a very long runway for us to work with, and this is a short takeoff and landing aircraft. Okay, so the airport is directly ahead and off to the right a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull our throttle back somewhat. We'll lose a little bit of altitude. And we'll also check out the windsock really quick. One of the things that I really enjoy about this Orbx scenery is just how much life they've given the countryside here. And you can tell that it seamlessly blends in with the default. So if you look over there, you will see that is pretty much default P3D. And then of course it meshes with the Orbx scenery, which I believe is actually orthophoto, but don't quote me on that. It certainly does look like orthophoto, or at least an approximation thereof. But look at that, we've even got the little villages there, and of course the people and the animals and so on, in typical Orbx fashion. And this is the kind of stuff that I love, folks. I love doing bush flying like this, so naturally Papua New Guinea is one of my favorite destinations. Alright, we need to watch this hill here. And there is our windsock. Yes, the windsock does indicate that we need to land in this direction. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to turn around, we'll do our downwind, and then we'll come back around and land. There you can see the windsock. Okay, so now we know what we're going to do. Alright, right here should be a good turnaround spot, so let's go ahead and get that done. Hang on, Tannia. Alright, looking good, looking good. Let's go to the outside view. Okay, so now we are heading downwind, and you can see all the various details that Orbx has included. Looks like a little people bridge there across the river. And I think as soon as we pass this village, we'll go ahead and turn around. You know, just in case we stall and fall out of the sky, we certainly don't want to take out one of these houses with us. So right here is about good for our turnaround. Get a little bit of rudder action. This is definitely one of my favorite Orbx scenery, and I would hope that they're eventually going to bring this to X-Plane as well, because as you know from my X-Plane episodes, I am a huge fan of flying in Papua New Guinea there as well, and I think this would be most at home there. Alright, let's go ahead and lose a bit more airspeed. Okay, now comes the moment of truth. Depending on how I land is going to determine how Tannia will react. Alright, make sure we pass all these trees. The runway is certainly long enough, so I'm not going to push it as far as trying to land all the way at the end of the runway here. We'll take it down about halfway. Alright, let's drop that airspeed. Make sure we're properly lined up. And there's a little bit of a bump coming. I'm going to open the door. Alright,
wow,
we are down.
Beautiful landing.
Why, thank you, Tannia. I love it. Okay, so that is our first landing. Now we're going to taxi all the way to the end, and then we're going to turn around. I'm thinking for this takeoff, we're probably going to turn around and taxi the opposite way, or take off the opposite way. Not quite sure how that's going to work, but I'm pretty sure that we've got enough runway that we might be able to make it work. I don't know. We'll see how this will happen. Alright, I think this is our turnaround here, so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Let's get a little bit of differential braking going. You can see some of the commuter aircraft that are in the area. Alright, right here is good. Okay, perfect. And there you can see a prime example of Orbx's handiwork. We've got moving people and moving pets. That's pretty cool. That is pretty freaking cool. Alright, so let's take a quick break, and then we will take off and head to our next destination, our final destination. Alrighty folks, I hope you're ready because we are about to depart from Waitemata and head up to Kiospe. You can see where we are right now, so pretty much it's about 6 nautical miles away at a heading of about 330 or 329 actually is more the case. Alright, now the real question is going to be, are we going to be able to take off flying with the wind? Oh boy. And let me remind you, we're still kind of high up there. You'll see that we are roughly at about 5,200 feet above sea level. But I think we can do it. Alright, Tannia, I hope you're ready. Here we go. Brakes down, throttle coming up. And brakes off. Full throttle, let's go, go, go. Alright, so we had a successful takeoff. We're still a little bit low, but that's okay. I'm going to keep heading this way because we do have enough airspeed to remain airborne. And then we'll turn around and head the proper direction here. So that actually worked. And the only reason why that worked is because we had enough runway length for us to actually do it. If it would have been a much shorter runway, yeah, that would have ended real bad for us. Okay, but it is time to turn around into the wind and see if we can get a bit more altitude. So I'm going to swing us out this way, close our door again. Alright, here we go. And we're going to do a teardrop turn just past this tiny village here. Give it a little bit of rudder. And we'll go back to the outside view. Okay, so we made our turnaround and we are flying over the airport again. Let's just check the map to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. Let's see. Okay, yes, we are definitely heading in the right direction, and it looks like we're going to need to go uphill. Yeah, we do have a little hill in front of us here. Let me see. What's going to be the best way to get over this? I'm thinking we will need to go to the right, because it looks like there's a little saddle ridge there. We might be able to negotiate that a lot easier than trying to go over everything here to the left. So we'll keep our trim set right where it is. That should keep us gaining altitude. You can see our current airspeed as well is just about 60 miles per hour. So we're good. We're pretty good. Alright, let's close up our map. And there we go. Looks like we're set. Alright, so let's go back to the outside view really quick here. And when we come back, hopefully we will have gotten over this hill. Alright, and we're back. We haven't made it past the hill yet because, well, Piper Cub, kind of slow. We're still at about 60 miles per hour, but we do have enough altitude that we should be able to pull this off. So I'm going to trim us down just a bit more here. That'll give us some of our airspeed back. And it looks like, yep, there is a saddle ridge right there. Tannia, you can see that better than I can, so you let me know if we're going to hit that tree. Alright, I'm thinking we are doing pretty good here. As soon as we get over this little hill, I will pull the power back somewhat because we've been running at full throttle the entire time, and that can't possibly be good for this engine. Okay, looks like we are good on that side. We're good on that side. Alright, perfect. Let's pull the power back a bit. Okay, so there we go. Some high altitude flying for you. I gotta say, pretty awesome. I really didn't think that the Cub was going to be able to handle this. I think we probably would have needed like a Super Cub or something like that. But so far, this thing seems to be up to the task. So kudos to A2A Simulations, excuse me. Definitely did a great job on this one. Of course, it is A2A, and I've never in my life flown an aircraft made by A2A that I did not like. They just absolutely nail it when it comes to the flight dynamics and the systems, and of course the sheer beauty of the cockpit. Of course, the sheer beauty of my lovely co-pilot. Matter of fact, let's get a better look at her again from outside. I should also add that they did change and upgrade Heidi, the model in the front. For starters, you'll notice that her skin texture looks a little bit better, and I'm sorry if this is a little creepy for you there, Tannia, but I just kind of want to show the viewing audience that you've got more realistic skin. more realistic hair, and you may have noticed the fact that she's wearing aviator glasses. Once you're actually on the ground, she takes off the aviator glasses, but while we're flying, she will have them on. I think that's a nice little touch for this model. Alright, I think we could see the village up ahead. Like I said, our final destination is Kiospe, which should be the airport directly ahead of us. We still need to find it, however. I want to say that might be it there, slightly off to the left of the little crossbar here. But when in doubt, we can always go to the outside view and make sure that that is the airport that we're looking for. Okay, that is definitely the airport that we are looking for. Let's just verify on the map real quick here. Yep, that is Kilo Sierra Papa. And I don't see a Windsock, but I can only imagine that it's going the same direction. Oh wait, no, there's the Windsock, about halfway down the airport. Okay, so we have confirmed this is where we need to be. I'm going to open up our door. Alright, Tannia, I hope you got your seatbelts on. I don't see any seatbelts on you. But we're going to make our turn here, and as you can see, this runway is considerably shorter than the last one that we were at. So this could get interesting. Alright, let's pull the power back. Lose a little bit of altitude here. Wow. And yes, folks, this is what I love about Orbx. I mean, look at that. I mean, obviously, there's still a little bit of graphical artifacts there, but that's more P3D's fault than Orbx's fault. I think Orbx has done an absolutely stunning job on this scenery and pretty much all the little areas that we've seen thus far. Okay, so we're going to head down this way here. Looks like we'll need to come over the river. So we'll straighten up here. Keep pulling the power back a bit. And what is our current altitude? Just shy of 7,000 feet. Whew. Oh boy. Alright, Tannia, I hope you're ready. We're making our turn. Alright, we are still a little high. I'm going to drop the power some more here. Oh boy, okay. This is going to get interesting. We're coming down a little fast. We'll try to flare at the last second here. Yep, you better hold on, Tannia. I can't guarantee this landing is going to be as smooth as the last one.
Ugh, that actually hurt.
Sorry. But hey, we're down. We are down. And look, we've got cows. Take a good close look there, Eagle Dynamics, because I want cows for my DCS. There we go. That's awesome. Okay, so we are here. I don't see any buildings that we can pull up and park at, so we're just going to go to the end of the runway and turn around. And that will do it for this particular episode. Hey, look, there is what appears to be a bull? Or is that a cow? I can't tell. I can't see any others. Alright, let me concentrate on turning around here, because I think right here is a good spot. Alrighty, Tannia. Sorry about that landing. But hey, 1 out of 2 ain't bad, right? Okay, and we're down. So, now we can go ahead and turn everything off. We'll kill the magnetos. Outstanding. no worse for wear, right? You're still alive there? I love it. I love it. Okay, folks, so that will do it for me. This has been BelGeode, and I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this little flight. We have been flying in prepared version 4.5, and I have been showing you the A2A Simulations J3 Piper Cub. This one has been updated for version 4.5 of Prepared. If you have never gotten it, or if you had the old version, I would highly recommend that you pick up this new version because it is just perfect. Just remember, however, your Heidi will not have red hair. Although, if you're handy with Photoshop, it's easy enough to do. Maybe I'll teach you in the comments below. Alrighty, folks. That will do it for me. We have been at the Orbx Tapini, so the links to that and the links to the A2A Sims Piper Cub will be in the video description below, so be sure to look for that. If you enjoy this flight and you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will be back sometime in the near future with some more prepared goodness. Alrighty, folks. Talk to you later. Ciao.